everybody, this is Dee Dee Vergatos from InTheKnowRadio.com, and today my guests are Drew and Dawn Ferguson. Hi guys, thanks for coming.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Dawn and Drew Ferguson are known as the Health, Wellness, and Happiness Coaches. They are the founders of Ferguson International and Ferguson and Associates Hypnotherapy and the Next Level Up Association. Dawn and Drew work with women and very smart men to help them transform their relationships with money, time, and their career so that they can experience the success and the freedom that they've always desired. Their expertise and insight have helped thousands of people design a life that reflects their true brilliance and purpose. As coaches, speakers, authors, certified hypnotists, and workshop leaders, their work has empowered the lives of thousands of people worldwide. Their programs include best-selling products and events such as How to Stop the Self-Sabotage, 6 Secrets to Building a Six-Figure Business, 3 Simple Steps to Success, the Health and Wellness Happiness Tour, and Life and Business Mastery through Self-Hypnosis. Dawn and Drew are passionate about delivering the message that you can live the life you dream, desire, and design. They believe you living a life of health, wealth, and happiness is part of your spiritual path. So guys, you're both hypnotists. How did each of you find your way into hypnosis, or how did you discover what the possibilities were through hypnosis? Do you want to start first?
Sure. We had both experienced some health challenges, and so did some research. Discovered hypnosis online, just read what Harvard was doing with some of its patients, teaching them self-hypnosis. I used it, and I saw great transformations, not just changes, but transformations in my body to where I didn't have to go back to feeling broken or flawed. And then I shared with him my success, and that's when we found out he had actually been using it for quite some time.
Yeah, I started actually in high school. I was having terrible problems with IBS due to the stress of the war and the draft and trying to get into a college and so on and so forth. So I went to the school library and pulled out a book on transcendental meditation and taught myself to meditate. And that's how I could control my IBS problems. Well, later on, when we got together and decided we were going to pursue hypnosis, I discovered in training class that I had been doing this all along, and it was self-hypnosis. I was using it in 1985. I was diagnosed with a severe case of rheumatoid arthritis. In 1990, I was told they were going to put me on 100% disability and that I should go out and pick up my wheelchair.
Wow.
I walked out. 3 months later, using those mind control techniques, I shouldn't say mind control, but the self-hypnosis techniques, I found that I was in full remission. And that was in the spring of 1990, and I have been in full remission ever since.
And this is what I would call a medical miracle, because this wouldn't happen in orthodox medicine. They don't believe in the possibility.
The doctors over the years would continue to test me for my rheumatoid factor. The rheumatoid factor didn't change. Now, it's important to understand that I don't use self-hypnosis to control pain. That can be dangerous.
Sure.
All right? What I do is I use self-hypnosis to control the inflammation of my synovial tissue, the tissues in my joints, tissues in my sinuses, so on. If I can control the inflammation, there is no pain.
Right.
So I'm controlling the process and the progress of the disease.
Rather than the symptoms.
Rather than the symptoms, exactly. My doctor today just tells me, just keep doing what you're doing.
And you look amazing.
Thank you.
So.
And that's what hypnosis does. It gets to the cause instead of just treating the effects or the symptoms. And that's what we want to help others do.
We want people to understand that the power of their mind can literally help them do anything they want to do.
Right.
The only thing that holds them back is their own imagination.
And their own past conditioning.
Right. And what we say is you become what you say in the privacy of your own mind, and we mean it because it's true.
Absolutely. So what have you seen in terms of people coming in with, because I'm sure people come in with all kinds of bizarre requests for hypnosis.
Well, just the other day I was working with a client who was getting over a divorce that was really ugly, and she was beginning to look back in her life, and she was seeing a pattern of picking the same type of man.
Mm-hmm.
One that wasn't going to be available for her, one where she felt like she was doing all the work in the relationship. And so she didn't want to get into another relationship and have it turn out the same way. So when you talk about creating miracles, for me, a miracle is for someone realizing that they hold the power to make the difference in their own life. And so unleashing the fact that the only person she needed to get her worth from was her, no one else.
And it's funny, a lot of people don't know that, because the way our society is hypnotized is that, well, who do you think you are? Like,
Oh.
it's considered arrogant rather than self-care and self-value.
Yes. We
So-
rely on the opinions of others to tell us if
validate.
we're okay or not. In fact, we usually see it show up in one of 4 emotional wounds: abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, or invalidation. So working with that client the other day to where she can validate herself, she knows that she's worthy, she's no longer going to reject herself, and she's not going to act all of it out in the form of a relationship that's going to abandon her.
Right.
Yes.
By not being available in the first place.
Right.
So that was great. So relatively, how few sessions did that take to bring her to that realization? Because people don't realize hypnosis is fast and effective.
Oh, that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love
Right.
it. I tell my clients that on many things, one session for profound
Sure.
results.
Right.
Now, when it's something that we have to reestablish patterns around, maybe food, then it's going to take longer. But I don't ever move anybody into a series of sessions until they've experienced the results from their first session.
Right.
So that way they can see the power that they truly possess, how easy it is to make those transformations, and then we begin working on the other pieces that need to fit in together. So for her, one session, she knows that if she needs additional ones to work on other things that she becomes aware of, she can always come back, but let's gauge the results from this one.
Exactly. And that's my point. One session, lifetime of patterns with men. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's truly amazing.
When you get to the cause, which the cause is we're looking for something, and we're the ones that have the power to give it to ourselves. It's the law of polarity. The law of polarity says that to know outside, you have to experience the inside. To understand up, you got to know down. Well, that also means that if there's the question, the answer is already present. It's not something that you have to
Right.
attract in or vibrate at. It's what you need to become aware of. You already hold the answer.
Wow, now that flies a little bit in the face of all the manifesting.
It
But I
does.
tend to agree with you.
Well,
Because when you know it, you are putting out
Right.
that vibe.
That's it, exactly. You don't
Have to try to put it out. Because when we ask somebody to try to do something, well,
Yeah, that implies failure.
and
So
there is the 24th century philosopher Yoda who says there is no try, only do. It's as simple as today's smartphones.
right.
Every element that it takes to build a smartphone today has existed since the beginning of the planet. We just grew into the knowledge of understanding that we could use those elements
Can
to
do it.
make that.
Right.
It's the same with people in their personal lives or their business lives.
So you didn't have to attract in what was needed. You needed to grow in
That's right.
to what was needed.
Or grow up to it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so that's what, so the law of attraction is true that we attract what we are, not what we want.
Exactly.
We want something different, we have to be something different. And so what you're doing is you're growing into who you need to be to have that result. And that's what hypnosis can do rapidly, is it can let go of the bad beliefs, the bad emotions, and bad habits of your previous conditioning that have been holding back that growth and allow you to blossom into who you really are.
That makes absolute sense. So what else have you seen, Drew, in terms of miraculous transformations with people?
Well, I don't know how miraculous it is. I mean, when we first started as hypnotists 12 years ago, it seemed pretty miraculous to us at the time. We could sit down with a client, hour and 30 minutes maybe, and take them from a 2-3 pack a day smoker to as if they had never smoked a cigarette in their life in that one session.
Right.
I mean, 12 years ago when we first started, that was miraculous.
And it actually still is, just not to you
Today
anymore.
it's part of our
It's what we
routine, but
It's
yeah.
another day at the office.
Right.
That's what
It's-
we
for you.
expect.
Yeah.
But understand, to a smoker that's been smoking
Exactly.
a pack a day for 30 years, who's
Yep.
tried to quit over and over and over again and failed and done it for a year, 6 months.
And they're
This is a
realizing
miracle to them.
they're
Yes.
realizing that this particular substance, whether it's a cigarette or a narcotic, has been controlling their life. And they don't have any power because it has all the power. It tells them what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, and how they're going to do it.
Structure their whole day around it.
Exactly, exactly. And when you can take that person and put them, have a pre-talk with them, put them in the chair, do a hypnotic session that's designed for them, with post-hypnotic suggestions that are designed for them to easily achieve after the session, it changes their life. I had a client recently that was trying to become a police officer, and he needed to enroll in the academy. And to enroll in the academy, he had to pass a physical training test. He was 27 years old. Everybody he was going up against was in their late teens. He was a pack and a half a day smoker, and he was very concerned. Can I do this? One session. The next week, he does his PT. Boom. Now, I tailored that session a little bit differently. Everybody's session is a little bit different because sessions need to be tailored to the individual's needs. So I basically included suggestions that would allow him to easily and effectively do the PT he had to do
Right.
to be able to pass that test.
And what you say is very important, that each session should be tailored exactly to that client's
Right.
both
Yes.
what motivates them and also their current blocks or limitations they're
Exactly.
holding.
There's no cookie cutter
No, there
approach
isn't. Yeah.
to hypnosis
Very
that's
important
going to be
people know
successful. Right.
Yes, this is the reason why you can experience some changes listening to a hypnosis CD. But for true transformation, you want to make sure that the process is designed to what it is that you need, because everybody has an emotional need and they're getting it met, but in unhealthy ways, the clients that we work with. That emotional need's never going to go away. So discovering what the need is and then finding healthy solutions to get it met is what makes the difference between someone who says, yeah, that felt pretty good, and wow, I saw some changes, to someone who says what you like to call the miracles. Look at what I was able to achieve.
Right.
And if I can do this, what else
Can't
is
do
there?
anything. That's right.
Yes.
So I know you also, because money is a big concern for people nowadays. We no longer have any kind of security. It's on us now.
Yes.
100%.
Right.
And this is freaking a lot of people out. So I know you work a lot with people in terms of careers and money and I want to say manifesting, but it's true. It's just
Right.
manifesting the ideal career
Right.
and salary they want for themselves.
Yes.
And when you start out and you're just thinking, well, who am I to expect myself to make, $100,000 a year?
Right.
There's all these beliefs that are coming up and self-doubt and things like that. So how do you help somebody with exact money
Who are
issues?
you not to earn that much
Right.
money?
Agreed.
Why? Why would you decide? What would make you decide? What conditioned you in your past to decide that you were only worth $50,000 or maybe 75? Why not 150? Why not $250,000?
So, for example, my father was a police officer for 32 years. I was raised with the value that being in service to other people is the highest calling you can have. And that's a great value to live by. But I was also raised with the unspoken rules that you can't make any money at it. Because I watched him hold down up to, at one point, 7 part-time jobs to be able to support us 4 kids and my mom. And so whenever we began our business, I went into it, I'm of service to others.
Right.
And I'm
Great
not going to
value.
make,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to make
Not gonna
any
make
money.
any
And
money
that
on it.
means I don't get to profit from it.
Right.
Exactly. So I would have clients, we set our rates rock bottom. I had clients coming in at that point still saying, I can't afford it. I was giving away services, all because I was raised with wasn't worthy enough to make the money. So whenever we work with an entrepreneur or a salesperson or a business owner, we have to look at what was their conditioning. And consciously, most of us don't know. We don't realize it.
Right.
So in a hypnosis session where the subconscious, which holds all of this information, can come up to the surface, and it won't twist it around, it won't spin it, it'll just tell you the way it is. And it's like, oh, well, we can't do that because of this. And so now bringing into awareness what the challenge is. The fact that, yes, I need to be a people pleaser. Or if it's God's gift, I have to give it away.
Yes.
Because you shouldn't charge for it. Any of those things that would cause us to work long and hard for very little. Bringing it out and realizing that that is not our higher powers programming, that is man's programming.
Right. And a lot of people too have the belief about money that if you have money, you're a bad person.
Right.
That's a huge one.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you must have done bad things to get it.
Yeah.
And I always say that if you were a bitch when you were rich, you were a bitch when you were broke.
Oh, that's great. And it's so true.
It is true.
Money amplifies who we
you
really are
Yeah.
at our core. So this is the reason why some people can have a lot of money and it's still never enough, because at their core, they don't feel it.
Right. They don't feel the value of themselves.
Right, because
So they keep reaching for more of
for
this.
something else, yes.
Right, that's
So it's discovering the unhealthy, dysfunctional conditioning and programming at the core, and then saying, okay, we need to upgrade this to what's the truth, because truth is like gravity. You don't have to believe in it for it to work.
And the interesting thing is I did with Tim Halbaum and Chris and Tim Halbaum, and I believe Susie Smith at the time, I did their Wealthy Mind workshop because I was that person, just like you, right?
Right.
And you're not going to believe the belief that I realized I had. And now when I look back, I'm like, that is so ridiculous. So my belief was, if we're wealthy and doing well over here, people on the other world are starving, and it's because of us. So I'm sure you've come up with that one.
Well,
when we do
sure.
well over here, that means they're poor over there.
Yes.
I don't have to stop breathing so that you can take a breath.
Right.
Okay?
That's it.
So then I realized, I thought, wait a second, that's politics, that's governments over there, that's
Right.
wars, that's this. So I'm going to make as much money as I can, because then I can donate it to those
You
poor
can-
people over there.
That's right. You
So
can
that became,
share it.
I know, it's
Exactly.
not, like I look back and I think, what a ridiculous belief, but I had no idea it was running me.
Yes.
It was running me because I thought, who am I to make money when other people are starving? So that's one the audience might recognize.
Sure, exactly.
And not only is it a belief, but it's a part of your personality, the age you were when you accepted that belief as your truth.
I can tell you exactly where it came from. Think about it. Finish all the food on your plate
Right.
There
because
are
people are
starving
starving
children.
in the world.
Yes.
Yes.
So what does that say? I transformed that into this major belief that, well, if I eat well over here, you're starving over there, which
Yes.
makes perfect sense now.
Right.
But our audience needs to realize that these things are running beneath you at your unconscious level. You have no idea. All you know is you feel compelled to give every poor soul, and there's nothing wrong with it,
But
free
you-
sessions.
Yeah, you give it away until you have nothing left.
Exactly. Well, there's the point where if you're giving it away so much that you can't pay your own bills, it's nice to give things away,
Sure.
but not at the detriment of you not being able to pay your bills.
Yes.
So,
And so the part of the personality that accepted the belief, the little girl that was needing to clean her plate.
right. By the way, it made me very overweight too.
Me
40
too.
pounds.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's still there. That part of your personality that held that belief, she's still within you. So we actually walk our clients through a 4-step process that anyone can use. They don't necessarily have to go in and work with a hypnotist. It's known as the 4 R's, just like when we were in school. It was reading, writing, arithmetic, and recess. Well, this is reveal, release, relearn, rejoice.
Oh, that's great.
Reveal the part of you, that younger you that is holding on to that belief. Because she's always going to be with you. She is your youthful enthusiasm and your passion for being friends with others. So reveal the part that's holding the bad belief. Then give her permission to release the belief. But that's not enough. Now you have to go into relearn. We have to give her a new belief. And her new belief is, if the adult you is prosperous, then she can share it with the other little kids over on the other side of the world.
And that's exactly how I reframed my belief. And now I'm really, I want to make so much money because I have this friend who has a way, literally, for people to grow. It's like one of my number one projects is how can I help people eat on the other side of the earth.
Right.
So I've transformed it in such a way where now I'm empowered.
Yes.
So it really is amazing what discovering those unconscious things that are compelling us to do or not do things.
And that's so easy in a hypnosis session to be able to bring it up to the surface.
That's right.
And then the last step is rejoice, putting together a plan where we get to pat ourselves on the back for these new changes with our behaviors, with our emotions, and with our thoughts.
Right.
So that way we are compelled to seek out after these transformations, and it makes it less likely to slip back into the old habits and patterns.
As hypnotists, we can help people remove negativity from their life. Negative actions, negative thoughts, like Dawn's talking about. That's the release and the relearn portion. But just like nature abhors a vacuum, the mind abhors a vacuum also. You can't take something out and leave that void, because if you do, the subconscious mind will then go to the same trash can that it got the last bad idea and get another bad idea. So it's important to then retrain the mind by putting something back in that's of positive nature that will take up that space.
That's right. That makes absolute sense.
Whenever you talk about people experiencing miracles, I had helped a gentleman become a healthy non-smoker one session, get a call about a year later, and he says, "Can you meet me outside of your office in just a few minutes?" Sure. So I go out there and he pulls up on his brand new Harley. And he said, "You told me to find something during the hypnosis session. You said, find a replacement." And in my mind, I saw my brand new motorcycle. And I said, "Okay, that's great, but you weren't smoking enough every single day to pay for a new Harley in a year's time." And he said, "But then you told me that once I found what I wanted, then that was going to be healthy and safe for me. Then my mind was going to find every opportunity to make even more of it happen." And he said, "It's been amazing, the business deals that have just fallen in my lap over the last year to make this bike a reality." So, as Drew said, it wasn't enough just to let go of the smoking habit.
Right.
What are you going to replace it with? Well, his mind chose a new Harley, but it then shows all the other actions that we're going to need to happen for that to become a reality. Yes.
And that's, again, something our audience needs to know is whenever we work with hypnosis, we have to create what the client wants, the ideal state, whether they believe it's possible or not. He had a vision for it. He didn't know how he was going to get it. His mind made it possible by seeing opportunities that were most likely always there, but he just never capitalized on.
Yes, his RAS, reticular activating system, was not turned on to find it. Your RAS is the part of your mind that's responsible to find every opportunity in your environment to make your dominant emotional thoughts a reality.
The RAS actually works with the subconscious and the conscious mind to resolve conflicts that'll come up between the two, and it'll actually show you consciously every opportunity out there to get what you want.
But if it is turned on with doubt, fear, lack, and limitation,
it's going to show that.
Find everything in the environment to reinforce that.
And hold you back.
Or it's the same thing about thinking about what you don't want.
Right.
Yes.
It's going to look for everything that's going to cause that.
Well, you ask the average person today, what do you want? And they will give you a litany of what they don't want.
Absolutely.
Very few will actually tell you what they want.
And then they're scared to say it. This is what I've noticed working with clients. You see this look on their face, and I said, it's okay tell me what you want, even though you may not believe it's possible or you don't know
Exactly.
how you're going to do it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So that's the important thing, is they're almost scared to voice it, because if I don't believe it's possible or I don't know how to do it, but the thing is, when you get the reticular activating system working for you,
Yes.
it's scanning.
Right.
It's scanning.
Constantly, 24/7.
It's scanning, and it's going, wow, I never noticed this before. I should go for this. Or wow, I wanted some new digital camera equipment. I never saw that billboard at the bus stop that's been there for 6 months about the new Nikon.
Yes.
But
right?
your subconscious
Yes.
saw it.
You did, but as
Yes.
soon as you tuned your reticular activating system by having an emotional,
Yes.
need or desire for it,
Right.
and a vision of it, it starts. So this is so important. Tell our audience more about just how they can tune their mind to work for them on an unconscious level.
Well, we let our clients know that they actually have 3 areas of goals: needs, wants, and desires. Needs is what they have to have during the day just to get through the day. And for some clients, they're not even getting that. So that's the first thing that we focus on, is what do you need to feel like you're okay? And then from there we move into wants. Those are the extras, I
Right.
want the new camera, I want a vacation, I want an increase in pay, I want to let go of 10 pounds. But then you have desires. Desires are what your higher power, whatever you believe, has placed in your heart. It's who you're really supposed to be. So for someone to bring out a desire when they are at the need level and they're not consistent with achieving wants, it can be a scary thing. So let's focus on building up to it. So the first thing is, what do we need to focus on?
Right.
And what area? We have what's called the 5 to thrive. You have your money, your health, your relationships, your career, and your untapped potential. So which area are you going to focus on? Maybe it's weight reduction, and maybe we need to look at you getting through the day without eating because it's so stressful at work. Not looking at letting go of the first 10 or 20 pounds, which is a want. Let's focus on what you need right now. And then you need to know the next thing that's going to show up is what's known as the terror barrier. This is where the subconscious is going to start throwing out all of your previous conditioning and programming on why you can't have it. And
Yes.
it's going to try to pull you
It's gonna
back.
rally.
Yep.
It's going to try to, rally
It's-
and keep you stuck.
It's going to keep you back where it wants you because it knows that you're familiar with it. It's relatively safe. So it doesn't want you to go out. It wants to keep you where you
Even
are.
though it's painful.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
it could be a
familiar.
negative behavior,
It's the the
but
pain.
it's comfortable.
The pain
Yeah.
you know is better than the pain you don't know.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So then the clients know that this is going to happen. It looks like everything's falling apart when actually everything's falling together. Because
Yes.
it's all coming up to the surface. And it's coming up to the surface not to hurt them, but to be healed.
Right.
And so then as things arise, saying, okay, what behavioral modifications do we need to make around this? What are the emotions we need to optimize? Because most people think of fear as something that's paralyzing, and that the opposite of fear is going to be relaxation and calm. And it's not.
No.
Not the way the subconscious processes it. The opposite of fear is excitement.
Yep.
Right.
Fear is to be used. So it's emotional optimization of whatever emotions are coming up, how to work that to the benefit of the client. And then the final piece is the identity upgrade. Not just changing their thoughts, but upgrading their identity.
Failure to do that is why the vast majority of lottery winners are broke within 7 years.
Yeah, they can't identify.
They haven't changed
Yes.
their identity.
And
They still see themselves as poor.
Yep.
or
Therefore,
working hard for a living with very little.
And off it goes. They burn it away.
Yes. Yes.
they
So
burn it away to make their truth.
That's truth.
yes.
Yeah.
So utilizing hypnosis to be able to upgrade all 3 of those, and that's why clients can see such rapid results. It's the reason why we can see, as you know, success for them in one session, because they're ready for that. but then also letting them know that they have to continue to take the actions
Yes.
afterwards.
Right. It's not just going to happen.
Yeah, it's not a magic wand. I'm going to bonk them on the top of the head with.
And all of a sudden, your whole life is going to change and everything.
Right,
Right.
it can, but you have to grow into who you're supposed to be for that to happen.
Right.
So the very actions you've been trying to avoid are the very actions you need to step into.
Right.
Wonderful. So what else have you seen? Give us an example of a client that you worked with someone that had a real poverty mentality and then just totally switched that around.
Well, we actually have 2 women that have testimonials on our website right now that it wasn't necessarily a poverty mentality, it was an employee mentality.
Ah, important distinction, because a lot of people have an employee
Yes, they do.
mentality.
Almost
it's very
everybody
different
does.
from an entrepreneurial
Entrepreneurial,
mentality.
yes,
It is.
very much
It's the
so.
flip side.
Yes,
Yes.
very much so.
Okay.
And we're conditioned with that from school. You go in and you turn in your work
Mhm.
and you get the good grade.
Right.
You show up and you get the pat on the back at the end of the year for your attendance. So they're training you from the very beginning that you just have to show up and do what they tell you, and you'll get your paycheck, good grades.
And think about the entrepreneurial spirit in school. A child comes up and says, I can do it a better way.
Hmm.
Or this is better. Or rocks the boat or asks too many questions. What happens to them?
They're the entrepreneur.
That
Well, they
was
get
a,
punished.
Well, yeah, they do.
In school.
For me,
they
that
are
was-
the entrepreneur.
But in life,
however.
they're going to be the winner.
yeah.
Yes, we know that now, but the
Sure.
young child at school who goes, oh my God, all I did was realize there was no common sense behind what you were teaching and I could do it better and I got punished, there's something wrong with me. We punish people who think for themselves.
Yes.
Or think outside
Outside the box.
Right.
For
Yeah.
me, it was a lot of school suspensions. Is how
And
it
of course,
showed up.
oh, you're poor. Is a little entrepreneur okay now? I realize that.
And helping the other entrepreneurs
Right.
now, yes.
Yeah.
So they came into their business with the employee mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And then who was their boss? Their clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so the client was saying, do this, do that, and then I'll decide whether or not I'm going to pay you. And I'll decide if whether or not
Sure.
you're worth
Well, that's the
it.
inmates running the asylum.
That's
you know,
right.
But we see that with people coming from corporate as well as women, because as women we're taught to be people pleasers and take care of everybody else. And so they brought that mindset to their business, which meant that the people that they were serving, they were givers dysfunctionally, and they attracted dysfunctional takers.
Right.
Sure, it makes perfect sense.
Yes. So it was helping them realize that they are here to serve, but they are here to serve from health, from wellness, from their higher power. And
Right.
so then you attract what you are, not what you want, watching how their database of clients transformed. But there was a gap in between letting go of the ones that weren't healthy and stepping into their increased rates, their better business model. And so that's where the terror barriers showed
Sure,
up.
and it's valid to have terror there when you
Yes,
see an
oh
income.
my gosh, what am I going to do? Yes.
You really have to have faith then
Yes.
in yourself in the process and
Yes.
and know that and trust that everything will be okay.
And faith is action. That's what it is. So making sure that they were taking the correct actions and turning it around. And one of them is still in the same business, but it is absolutely quadrupled
Oh, at least.
in the last 6 months
Yeah.
for her.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
If they quadruple every 6 months, do you know what that'll mean?
Yeah.
And now she's building team.
She'll be putting us on retainer. That's
Yeah. But she's building a team now, and she's teaching the other women who are coming into
Right.
business her system on how to move through all of this. The other one completely changed what it is that she was doing and found a company that would better showcase her talents and abilities. And in just the last 45 days of business has moved into probably healthy 5 figures. So yeah, it can happen quick, as long as you're ready to take the steps to grow into it. So we don't see so much poverty mentality. We see employee mentality.
Employee
Yeah,
mentality.
it's a different.
Yeah.
I think just the general public can relate to it as a,
Sure.
a poverty mentality. But you're right. I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
you hit it right on the head when you say no. It's not. It's employee mentality.
Yeah, because that's what we're conditioned with from the very
Yeah,
beginning.
absolutely. Good distinction. Good
Mhm.
distinction. So, if there's anything that you could leave our audience with, because obviously, and again, when you first start out, it's everything is miraculous. Now it's just another day at the office.
Right.
We expect those miracles.
Well, we expect
Yeah.
the miracle. Yeah, that's it. That's our anticipation is the miracle.
And that's what I say. I say, you know, I worked with someone, just to give you an example, with a skin condition, and in one session, his unconscious said, you know, change your thinking to this. He was beating himself up very badly.
Right.
You know, and it was causing this internal pressure, rashes,
Right.
not rashes, pardon me, psoriasis.
Yeah, the scaling and
rash,
cracking
you know,
and sure.
Yeah.
well, diagnosed as rosacea, but it was like
Yes.
a rash. But think of what he was doing on the inside. Simply said, change this thinking. You know who you are. You're someone who's inspired, passionate. Focus on that, and your skin will be gone in a month. One session done, no problem.
Yep.
Just another day at the office.
Right.
So when you have both witnessed the miraculous power of the mind, so what would you leave our audience with, that something that you believe they really, really need to know?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'd like to hear from both of you.
Probably the one thing I could probably say is understand how truly powerful you are. You can become what you say in the privacy of your own mind. You can do what you want to do, whether it's in business, in your personal life, in your physical health. You can overcome. You can use the power of your mind to do what you need to do. And I'm a living example of that. I have no wheelchair. And nor will I ever have a wheelchair. Okay? It just doesn't work for me.
It's not who you are.
It's
is it?
not who I am.
Right.
It's who the doctors wanted me to be. And we all have a tendency to believe in that white coat thing. That's why they call it white coat syndrome. But you don't have to be that way. Your mind is powerful enough to create the reality that you want to live in.
Okay. I believe everybody has a unique brilliance that they were blessed with at birth. But it got covered up by all the BS in life. So
That stands for belief systems, by the way.
Yes, belief systems. So I want people to do whatever it takes to reveal that brilliance, turn it on even brighter in their life. Not just for them, but there's a lot of other people out there whose lives are very, very dark, and they're looking for that light. So when you light yourself up, you can show them how to turn on their own light. So turn your light on for yourself, turn your light on for others, and be a bigger blessing in the world. This is what you're here to do.
And this is absolutely what we need more than anything at this time.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Dee.
you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.